All right, good morning. Welcome to day 4. I'm trying not to get this light directly in the lens. So camp's all packed. It's about 6:30. Sun's about starting to come up. Got my coffee ready, and now we'll drive out of the Tennessee side of the park and drive about an hour north into Kentucky and then back into the Blue Heron campground area of the park. So it's a little road trip this morning. Catch you there. All right, just got here to Blue Heron, drove through the campground. It's really small, but it's really nice, really pretty. There's no place to pay for a campsite there, so I'm not going to just, camp there without paying. So I'm driving around the Blue Heron area, and I'm on this Overlook Road, and the Blue Heron Loop Trail kind of incorporates all these overlooks, and it parallels the road, then goes down into the gorge, but the bridge is out to do the whole loop. So what I'm going to do is drive to each of these overlooks and see if maybe I can get a short hike in on this side of the river to anything else that looks interesting. Right now we're at the Devil's Jump Overlook, so let's take a look at that. I think we'll go to the left. I'm not sure if this is a little loop or if it's two different overlooks. We'll go to the left first. Wow, this is nice. It's paved. I feel kind of more like a tourist than a hiker today. Here's the intersection with the Blue Heron Loop that looks like a really pretty trail. And we will continue around to the right on our easy paved trail. Life is good. Oh, wow. Wow. Man, I have got to get a kayak on this river someday. This is absolutely beautiful. So it looks like there are two separate overlooks for this area. I'm going to go back up to the parking area and down the trail to the other one. Sorry, I was wrong. It's just the Blue Heron Loop going back to where we just were. All right, let's get in the car and see what's next. I'm up here at this Blue Heron Overlook, and it's a turnaround into the road. It's a very large parking lot with picnicking and restrooms. This is one side, and there's another side. And here's a notice that the bridge is out. Now up here on the map, it looks like I've got about a mile or mile and a half walk to the Gorge Overlook and Crack in the Rocks. All right, we're on another paved trail. So maybe it's not as far as I thought it was looking at the map. And I'm hoping Crack in the Rocks is a slot canyon. I know there are a few of those here, and I haven't seen one yet. I really am hoping to see a little bit of everything they have here on this short trip I've got. Wow, it's beautiful. I guess it's early, not quite 8 o'clock here, or around that time. Temperatures, we're almost up to 70 now. We're on a warming trend, and there is kind of high humidity, so it's got that clammy feeling to it, but it's very comfortable. I'll take this all day. But I'm feeling spoiled. I mean, I haven't even stepped on dirt yet today. It looks like the sun's at a bad angle to catch this. We'll see how it turns out. So we were at the center of the bend. In fact, you can see the bluff over there where we were earlier. Oh, we could go down there. Yeah. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so here we are at the end of the bluff. The first overlook was right at the middle of the bend. I could see it from here at the top of that bluff. I hope this angle with the sun it comes out. And then we're looking down the gorge. All right, so I'm trying to figure out how to get to crack in the rocks. Looks like I'm going to have to jump on the Blue Heron Loop Trail. And I guess, yeah, I'd like a little more detail, but it looks like that's the way to get to it. It doesn't look that far on the map, but I don't have any kind of mileage indicator here. All right, let's go find it. All right, this should be the way. Oh, it's cracks in the rock. I wonder how long this Blue Heron Loop is. It looks really extensive. Ooh, that's steep. Huh, okay, here we go. Well, this is pretty. But hopefully this isn't it. I'm looking for a slot canyon, hopefully. Either way, this is really pretty here. I stepped off the trail for a minute. I've got to check out this bluff. All right, back on the trail. I haven't seen a sign, so hopefully cracks in the rock is still ahead. This is the same bluff that both those overlooks were on. Must go for miles. All right, here we are. That wasn't bad at all. Half mile maybe? Not bad. Oh, I think we are going to get something like a slot canyon. The trail goes farther down there. And here we have... I'm going to do it. I was told to watch for copperheads in here, but I can see sunlight at the end. Look at this from the top down. Here we go. Oh, there's stairs. Oh, okay, so we have a crack over here, or an opening, and at the top of the stairs we have another one. Wow, this is cool. Okay, so there's this. I thought that's how we were going to exit, but it isn't. That's to my left. Get up on this platform. This is where we entered. It's really big. Oh, directly above my head. It's open. And Wow. We'll go down and out. All right. We'll just walk the trail around the edge of the rock. Okay, so it's not really the slot canyon I was expecting, but it's very cool. I know there are multiple slot canyons in this park, and I think the longest one is a little over 300 feet, which, you know, is not like what they have out west, but that's really neat. East of the Mississippi, those are difficult to find. All right, so now I'm just headed back to the car, and I know there's a museum down at the bottom of the gorge. I don't remember what else is here in the Blue Heron area, but it looks like in this area, everything is really close to where you park. So I'm gonna cover this in no time, this area here. All I can say is I'm glad this is the morning and not the end of the day. All right, we're back on pavement. So last night I'm in my tent, and it's a little after 9, and I hear the sound down in the valley below my tent. It sounds like someone yelling, like they're yelling in distress. I'm like, what in the world is going on? So, you know, I zip the fly, and stick my head out of the tent, and it stops. It's like, did somebody get murdered down in the valley? And I'm the only one there in the whole campground. It's like, well, what do I do? It's pitch black, you know, and there's no telling what's going on out there. So finally, I lay down, and about 20 minutes later, I hear it again. Only now, it's farther down the valley, a bit of ways from me. And I'm thinking, well, sounds exactly the same. I'm thinking, well, that's not a person. Not to move that far that fast. But I didn't recognize it. I mean, it's not like a coyote or, you know, anything I've ever heard out in the woods before. And it sounds just like a person yelling in distress. And this goes on for a few minutes, and then it stops again. And like, I sure hope that's not Bigfoot. But I couldn't come up with what it was. So finally, it's like, well, do I stay in this tent, or, you know, what am I going to do? Finally, you know, it'd been quiet for another 15 or 20 minutes. And I'm laying down, but I'm kind of keyed up, you know. I'm really on alert. So I'm not really going to sleep. And all of a sudden it starts again, and now it's back to being in the valley below my tent. And as soon as it starts, I hear at all different points down in this valley the same thing. And it's like somebody's running a pack of dogs down there. I finally figured it out. But see, I've been with groups of people, and we're running beagles for rabbits, or coonhounds for, you know, raccoons. And I've seen people run their hounds for bears. This didn't sound like any kind of hound dog I've ever heard, but that it has to be something like that. That's all I could figure. That went on till about 11:30 last night. So I mean, I was keyed up. It's like, what is going on? They get closer, then they get farther away. They finally grouped together, and then after a while it stopped. And there's a gravel road not too far outside of the campground. And a little after midnight, I heard a truck driving up the gravel road past the campground. It's like, yeah, that had to be somebody running dogs. It's funny, you know, when you're out in the woods and you run across something new and you're by yourself. It's a strange feeling. We're down at the bottom of the gorge. I didn't expect railroad tracks. Okay, we're currently at Blue Heron down at the bottom of the gorge. This was a coal mining community back in the day. I know that where all the buildings were, other than what we're looking at now, they built like a metal skeletal frame on top of the foundation of the actual building. And they decided to do that instead of just maintain the existing buildings and restoring those. This obviously was a schoolhouse or a church, probably a combination of both. Yep, it was a church. I have no idea how large this area is. The road continues past where I parked, but I'm going to see if I can walk it. I'd like to check out every building here. This is really neat. This building is just restrooms and a picnic area. And the Blue Heron Loop is down here too. That is a long trail, boy, and it goes from the top to the bottom and back up again. Sounds like a future hike. Let's see what this building is. Now this was the schoolhouse. My grandmother taught in a one-room schoolhouse in Tennessee. It's a long time ago, obviously. But one of the chores that the school children had was stoking the stove in the wintertime to keep it warm. Here's a little ramp to take us down to the river. This is still the big South Fork. There's a little South Fork also. I'm not sure if that runs through this park or not. And they joined together to become the Cumberland River. Great swimming hole. Looks pretty deep out there in the middle. And then you'd be almost dragging your canoe or kayak right here. And then it looks like it gets deep again down there. So I just got to look at myself in the mirror. I didn't realize my beard had grown out so much. I knew it was really gray, but I wonder if I'd have let it go for winter. I'll discuss that with Jackie. Okay, Kevin, I hope you catch this video. I know this is really right up your alley. Coal mining town, railroad, move that coal out of here. It looks like there's a trestle above this building that goes over the river, and then we have the tracks that go down the gorge we were driving along. I know I had heard there's an antique train that runs from, I want to say it's Stearns, Kentucky, to this spot, and they do tours and then brings you back. Definitely something for a future trip. I have so many reasons to come back here. What an awesome spot. Well, I'm hoping the interpretive center is open. I could pick up some information about this place. So, I don't know which railroad this was. I know when I was at Leatherwood Ford, the O&W Railroad had a trestle. That's, once again, a future hike. And the trail goes over the trestle now. The railroad's not in use, but it used to run and haul coal between Jamestown and Oneida, Tennessee, 3 times a day. So definitely want to hike across that trestle. This doesn't look like it's built out as a platform for hikers. I could see the sunshine between all the ties. That would be really cool to go over the river on that though. See what these little buildings were in a minute. Here's the interpretive center, which looks like the museum part. I want to see what this building is up here, up the hill a bit. It's quite large. You can see quite a bit of the old foundation still too. Looks like another building or two farther up the hill. Okay. Hi guys. I've heard that there's an old coal mine shaft you can walk about 20 feet into before it's caged off. I want to find that because there's a coal seam there. The bathhouse. They had to strike for 2 days to get it. That's interesting. Boy, I bet you wanted that at the end of every workday. Got a trail here off to the left, and then one that goes straight up to there. Let's see what's up there first. Oh neat, we get to walk under the trestle. Oh, you know what? This may be part of a trail. That would explain the handrail up there. Oh yeah. All right, let's find out. Okay, now that we're up the hill a bit, we could go right or left. To the right is a powder magazine. I'm sure that was stored far away from everything else. There's a gated off cave. I don't know if that was the powder magazine or just happens to be a cave there. And this path we're on is crushed coal. Wow, we've really come quite a ways around this hill. This is neat. This is a picture of the tram tracks that it's looking south to the powder magazine, which says located under the bridge to the left. This was the typical appearance of tram tracks at the Blue Heron site. I'm not sure how much farther we have to go unless that cave was it, because it looks like it was here in that rock is what it's looking like. So that may be what we passed already that looks like a cave. Well, it's certainly a nice walk, if nothing else. All right, so check this out. Under this rock, at the base of it, is a coal seam. Maybe about, I don't know, 2.5 feet thick. So if you haven't seen one before, now you have. This trail just keeps going, and it's so overgrown. I really don't think that we're going to find anything we haven't found already. So we're going to head back, check out these other buildings. This cut that we're walking on this trail, was where the tram tracks were. And the powder magazine was in between those rocks right over there. At least based on that picture, that's kind of how it looks. Okay, so coming back, we came up the hill over there. We're going to go the direction where we would have gone if we made a left. So this is the sand house. It was a hopper for storing fine sand. So they used that on the tram tracks to provide locomotives with traction on the steep inclines. So this is the Tipple Bridge that's closed. Bummer. I can see a lot of barriers at the other end. Well, when it's in the air above the river. So definitely you could walk across this if it was open. Man, I hope they repair that when I'm back from my next trip. This is where the shop was, where they repaired locomotives and tram cars. So this is interesting. You got these boys playing on the tracks, the tram tracks. This is one of the shafts. So the tram would back up these tracks into old mine number 18 right there, and then pull forward and go across the tipple. Oh, and this must be it. Oh, this is such a cool place. Yep, the Blue Heron Mine. I know it didn't look like this when it was being worked. All right, we'll throw that Bud Light can away on our way out. People. Okay, so in a mine shaft, you don't want to spend a lot of money on explosives. So what you would do is you would find your seam. I think this one was around 3.5 feet height. If you could see that very low car and how close it is to the ceiling. So what you would do is you would find your coal seam, which I can't see from here. There's too much debris. Then you would dig out 6 inches below the seam and only as high as the seam was. Yeah, this gets so small that that car is going to almost touch the roof when it goes down the shaft. And then what you do is you set your explosives in the rock below the seam, 6 inches, and you blow it. That way when you set off the charges, you didn't blow down the shaft or out the shaft. You blew the coal seam to pieces, which meant that your workers here in the mine had to be stooped over or crawl the entire time they were working in this shaft. Man, what a hard way to make a living. And this just is part of the Blue Heron Trail. It's paved. Boy, it's really a nice trail. I have got to hike that someday. I don't know what that was. It's just here. Looks like a turbine of some kind. Or turbine. Depends on where you're from, I guess. Man, I want to walk this so bad. I can't even see the other end. All right, let's check out this interpretive center. All right, I'm not really going to be able to capture the signs with this camera very well, but this talks about a tipple, explains what it is, how it was operated. The Stearns Company operated most of the tipples in this area. They had quite a few. This talks about different types of coal and what they're used for. My grandparents heat it with a coal stove. I don't see it here. It's like a large Franklin stove. That's the way I remember it. Wow, the Stearns office building was quite large. They had a soda fountain, a billiard hall. Oh, they had a coal yard in Louisville. So it was a coal and lumber company. That makes sense. This kind of breaks down the history. So they had a main street, a hotel, company housing. Here's a big 4th of July celebration. It's quite a large community. Here's a miner in a shaft. See, he's sitting on the ground. Here's the ceiling. Just not much room. There's an 8-foot thick coal seam. Wow. Never heard of that. And here's a bit of the history about the timber. Of course, you had to float the logs or get them out by train. There was the mill, first electric mill in the U.S. Huge lumber yard. Hauling logs by mule. I've seen that done. I'm really fortunate with the things I was able to see in my youth. This kind of talks about the railroad. Look at that little motor car. There's the K&T Railroad crossing the Yamacraw Bridge. A lot of this is closed right now. Once school starts, it's kind of the end of the season. It'll be open on the weekend, I'm sure. All right, so the bookstore is closed Mondays and Tuesdays, which, is pretty standard, and the train from Stearns only runs on the weekends. Definitely want to do that. So there was a ranger inside the bookstore who was painting the floors, and he opened the door when he saw me, let me in. Really nice guy named Jack. And just on the inside of the door, which was about as far as I was able to step without stepping on fresh paint, was a rack with some literature. And I couldn't get into the rest of the store, unfortunately. I was hoping to get a book on the history of this area, but he really helped me out with pamphlets on other parks in the area here. One place I wanted to go to, but I'm not going to make this trip, is Rugby, which is a historic town. There's a Manhattan Project Museum not too far from here. And if I go north out of here towards Louisville to go home through Louisville towards St. Louis, I'll go by Cumberland State Park, which has, in this picture, a large waterfall. So if things work out, I'll be able to see that. That sounds really neat. I tell you, life is really interesting. People are so friendly and helpful, and it just makes doing something like this a whole lot better. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm headed back to the car right now. That I'm the only one here, by the way, that's not a worker. That this is everything that I wanted to see in the Blue Heron area. Just the highlights for this trip. And now I'm going to drive, I'm not sure, maybe another half hour or so, back out of the park, up to the very northern end of the park, to Yahoo Falls, and catch up with you guys there. Alright, I just wanted to give you an update. I only saw about half the buildings that were there. I'd like to tour the rest, but they were cutting brush and trees and doing a lot of work. There were about 7 or 8 guys all around, and it just felt like the wrong time for me to do that. I didn't want to have to make them stop what they were doing. So there's a lot more to this area than what I was able to show you today. If you ever come back here, allow yourself some time to really explore it. Okay, so we just arrived at the Yahoo Falls campground, and this is remote. It is out there. Of course, there's nobody else here. There is one other car at the parking, which is 2 spots to hike to Yahoo Falls. But if you want to be really secluded on a steep hillside with your camp, this is the place. There are no flat areas here, so you just kind of pull off to the side of the road and you hike up to the campsites. It's really cool. So other than the couple that's just ahead of me on this trail and myself, we're the only people here. So 1/4 mile to Yahoo Falls, 1.5 miles to the Arch. So we'll do that hike and then just do an out and back and come back. The couple that's here told me that it's really steep. So we'll find out. Yep, that is really steep. This is on the loop. I'm not sure where we are on the loop. We may be at this end, but we may be over here. We'll find out. Probably that's where the waterfall is, though. This may be to the falls, to the left. Definitely right to the Arch. So what I'm going to do, I don't know how long this loop trail is go to the Arch. If I see the falls, great. And if I don't, on the way back to the car, I know where to go. This is a pretty walk in the woods. The other couple, or the couple that's out here with me, took that, like, it was almost straight down trail that was off to the left. I don't know which would be easier. It was so steep. It's easier to go up or go down. So I was talking to a ranger about this place a couple of days ago, and he said the locals pronounce it Yahoo Falls instead of Yahoo, and that Yahoo is another word for Bigfoot. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm keeping my eyes open just in case, though. Well, here we are. No signs. I could go straight or I could go down the hill. I'm going to assume going down is going to be a short loop to come back up the way the other couple went down to see the falls, and it straight to the arch. You know, we just kind of figure it out as we go along around here. What do you know, I ended up at the same place. If I would have gone straight, I'd have come down these stone steps. Going left, I came down here. So, well, actually, I'm glad it worked out that way. Now I know. So I immediately turned around and I've got the same dilemma. Do I go straight or do I go down? You know what I'm thinking? This is somebody shortcut a switchback because of how steep this is. So we'll go straight. Probably find out in just a couple of minutes. Yep, that was it. We'll carry on that way. Oh, I see where we're headed. That has got to be the top of Yahoo Falls. It's going to be my guess. It's a big shelter cave, kind of like Slave Falls was the other day. Oh, that's big. That's really pretty. Well, long ways down. Might as well get started. This is the stream that spills over the top of that natural shelter. And since it's not flowing, the gnats, sorry, there won't be a waterfall today. Here's the top of the waterfall. There's nothing flowing over it, really, maybe a drip or two. And we'll probably go to about right here. Or a little bit more, maybe. I don't know if we're headed to the arch or if we're headed down there yet. We'll find out down the trail. Okay, so I'm thinking, since there's no camping for me out here, that what I'm going to probably do is everything here at Yahoo, and then either head to Cumberland Falls on the way back home, or just head home and save Red River Gorge for another trip. We're too close to that Labor Day weekend for me to really have enough time out there to explore. So what I've been thinking is I'm going to edit each of these videos into one video for each day, which would be 4. And then I'll probably create, consolidate all of that and edit it down really tight to hit just the highlights to make a 5th video. That way, for people who want to cut out the fluff, then that would do it. Okay, so, oh good, okay. So here we have that sharp down trail. Oh, those birds are pretty worked up. For the Yahoo Falls loop, so I know how I'm going to hit it on the way back. I'll go down this way and up the other. And then here, we're going to the arch, and it's only 0.8 of a mile from here. And then we'll return the same way. Well, good. Now I know where I'm going. Well, I changed my mind this morning and put on my last change of fresh clothes, so I just no longer stand the funk of yesterday's clothes. We're on the steep incline, and it's about 90 already. It's not midday yet. That was a waste of time. Actually not. This is fresh stink anyway, instead of old and new stink. Wow, this is deep. Oh, this is really nice. Oh, it feels cooler here too. Oh, yeah, it's like air conditioning. It's like even got its own breeze. Oh, that is so cool. Well, I hope you can see the back of this on the camera. It goes back pretty far. Oh, and there's the arch. Well, okay. Let's, doesn't look like you'll be able to go on top. It sure is wide though. Let's go under it and explore around. Oh, whoa, not what I expected at all. It just ends right here. I thought we were going to go through this. Oh. So you had this ceiling collapse. There's a big stone with all kinds of tree roots around it. That's cool. And it created this arch. That's really deep on both sides. Well, you know, I'm going up the hill for this. We are going to go across the top in a minute. We're going to go up here first. Oh, this is one of the coolest places I've been to. Well, I can't say that. They're all really, really neat. Okay. Well, here, we could go this way to go around. It'll be easier, it looks like. The arch, it looks like, is formed from rocks coming from two different angles. So here's that drop on the back side of the arch, and we're on top of the arch right now. How's that view? And then we'll go around, and this is the other piece of rock that completes the other side of the arch. No wonder it's so wide. And there is a trail, but I know it's not an official trail. Probably not going anywhere. Sometimes you go down those and it's just where people go to the restroom. Here we are from the top looking down on the back side. Yeah, this one is one for the books. Okay, let's get down. I just had to take a look at this one more time from way up here at the top of the arch. From up here it looks a lot higher than it did from down there. Well, of course, I'm on the top too. It's pretty thick, but wow. And then there's way off down the valley into the gorge, which is where we're headed next. I think I'll just climb down that backwards. See what I mean about the two different rocks that make the arch? It's got to be 40 feet across at least. Wow. Yeah, there's another example of the two different rocks. Maybe it's one and they've just kind of eroded it in a strange way. I can't imagine all the work to find these stones, dig it out, and place them there. Oh, I just got dripped on. All right, to the falls, or today we'll call it the drips. So I really like out and back hikes like this. So I have got to look down to watch my footing. But what's great about a hike like this is, for example, on the way back, it's all downhill the whole way. And all the spider webs are cleared out. I may have mentioned this in an earlier video, I don't remember, but it just came to mind. So when you're on a long distance hike, like let's say the Appalachian Trail, when you're white blazing, because the blazes on the trees are white, that means you're staying on the trail. When you're yellow blazing, that means you're taking a shortcut and bypassing some of the trail and you're road walking. When you're blue blazing, and I think around the Shenandoahs a lot of people do this, that means that you're bypassing a lot of the trail because you rented a canoe and floated down river and then picked it up again farther down river. But then when you're the first one on the trail each morning, you're silk blazing because you're clearing the spider webs for all the hikers behind you that day. All right, let's head down to the falls. Well, let's head down to that shelter. Rock shelter anyway. Look at this bluff. Here we go. Love these bluffs. Looks like our trail hugs the inside, and the waterfall would be right there in the middle. I bet in the springtime all these places are beautiful. Oh, what was that? Oh, this is really nice. I hear water dripping somewhere. Oh, look, let's go down this way, and then we'll go back up to the under the bluff there. Oh, yeah. So, I don't see the water dripping where the stream is. But, up there in that little notch, and it would fall straight down into this pool. So this large boulder in front of me is almost 3 times my height. I cannot imagine how to describe the scale of this natural shelter. This is so cool. I can't wait to come back. In the spring. Okay, I'm going to stand at the back and see how this looks. What a huge span. Several hundred feet. Okay, so the water's dripping actually from the rock, probably about 20 feet in from the edge. And it's dripping on to the rocks there, just above the pool. We're headed down there. Right, this is a little bit of detail about rock shelters. And that's a picture with the falls flowing and the arch. So I'm behind the pool at the bottom here. You can see the water, or hear it anyway, hitting off those wet rocks on the other side. Look how they stacked the stones on the path that we were on just a minute ago. Wow, so much work. Okay, so now I'm going to try scanning all the way across this from down here and see if that looks any good. This rock right here, easily 18-20 feet tall and wider. The stream bed's fairly dry. Okay, so we came in over there. There's an airplane. I've heard 2 or 3 a day since I've been here. It's not too bad compared to most places. And then I'll try it back in the middle. I don't know if those are any good. I may not use them in the video. We'll see in editing. I want one more down here though. This is so pretty. Okay, so now we'll cross back, head up these stairs, and back to the car. This is really neat. If I was a boy, I'd be saying something like, "I want to live here." The bluff continues. I'm curious to see how we get up. Okay, now I see how we get up. Oh wow, and up. Well, I thought we were at the top, but it still keeps going. Not to the top yet, but this is over 1,000 steps and more. At least the brochure said it was over 1,000 steps. Wow. Oh no, and more. They're never ending. Better up than down here though, I think. Okay. Let's see if there's more after this, because there's still a lot of up to go. Yeah, it keeps going. Thank God somebody thought of this. Time for a drink. Woo! That's kind of everything I plan to hit on this trip at Big South Fork, but I'm going to have to read the brochure on Cumberland Falls State Park, which is maybe an hour or less from here, and see if I could squeeze that in on my way back home. It's supposed to be a gorgeous waterfall, and the couple that's here with me said that they were there this morning and it's flowing strong, so that's tempting. I'll let you know after I read the brochure. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get to a place where I can get cell reception and pull up Google Maps, and it looks like it's a beautiful waterfall, 125 feet wide and falls 7 stories. They have multiple rainbows coming off the mist of the falls in the day, and when the moon's bright, they have a calendar for the moon. You get moon bows, which I'd never heard of before, but it makes sense. That would be really neat. So if this Cumberland Falls is close to my way back home, I'm stopping. And then if it's not, I'm going to just go through and go home. So next time I pick you up, I'm either going to thank you for watching or we're going to look at Cumberland Falls. Alright, so Cumberland Falls is not on the way home. It's just enough out of the way to make it a future trip. Man, all this stuff for the future trip, I am really looking forward to it. So now it's just nothing but me going home and a cheeseburger somewhere on the way, or 2 maybe. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed our time together.